Authority, Part 2. And we are going to start with the solar plexus emotional authority. Now, in this video, I want to give you an overview about what kind of energies the solar plexus puts out. And in the next video, I'm going to go show you a little chart of what, if you want to drill down in your chart to see what channels and what gates that you have, it can show you some of your root fears and things to tackle when you're doing your shadow work. So, what is solar authority? Here's the beautiful thing, and Ra states that it is one of the most important authorities, especially right now with the changes of the world. And the reason why is that solar authority it's future oriented, whereas a lot of the other authorities are past oriented, or they might be present oriented. The solar authority is future oriented because in order to fully access the wisdom of the emotion center, which is in the solar plexus, one must wait. You must have patience and you must wait and really take your time to allow the emotions to fully inform the body. And I know that sounds really strange, but as I continue, it'll make sense as I go forward. Because when I first started studying this, it didn't make a lot of sense to me. I thought, why are the emotions so important? But so if you imagine, the body has like a structure. It has lots of pipes and tubes and channels for energy to flow, right? And if there is a blockage, so let's say new energies are trying to get into the body through perhaps a mutation in the collective consciousness, and it's flooding the body, wherever there are blockages, you're going to have bursts of energy. And that burst of energy will often show up as emotional energy. And that is, our feelings are kind of like little barometers about our energetic frequencies that are flowing through our bodies. So waiting for the energy to disperse itself, to flow as the energies flow out, creating places for the blockages to flow without acting on the blockage. Because the problem is, let's say you had a blockage of energy and you were to do something in that fear state or then that anger state. What would happen is you would make a choice based upon the pain, not based upon the new energy that's trying to come in and inform you. So what you need to do is rest and wait for the emotional energies to run their course. You're going to feel your feelings. You might need to go for a walk. You might need to rant and rave to the stars. You might need to exercise, especially if you have a defined root center. You need to go exercise, maybe meditate, do yoga, do ritual. And what happens is through those actions of really moving the energies through the body, allowing yourself to fully feel everything. Once the emotions have passed, you'll have this absolute clarity of spirit of what you just released and what's coming in. And this is where wisdom lies, is being able to feel these frequencies that are coming into the body, allowing the old frequencies to leave, not holding on to them tightly, not trying to stifle them or control them, allowing them to leave, and then you will have full knowledge of what is the right thing to do to create even more change. People who have the solar authority, which is the emotional authority, they're often incredibly emotionally available people. And 50% of the population has a defined solar center. Even though you have a solar center doesn't mean that you necessarily have a solar authority. But if you have a solar authority, you most likely have a defined solar center. Not always. There are exceptions to the rules. But if your solar center is defined and your emotional authority is solar and emotional authority, You need to understand that people are magnetically attracted to you. They feel like they can actually be themselves around you, especially if they have that 55 gate, which is going to be integral part of the cross of the sleeping phoenix. So, what happens is when people get close to you, they feel the warmth, they feel the fact that they can actually be themselves, they can be honest, they can be authentic, and they can express themselves in your presence, even if you're calm. Even if you're upset, they still feel like they can express themselves. That type of freedom is spiritual liberation, to have that ability over others. And the thing is, most people don't realize, and they make unconscious decisions around you, and they may have been doing this since you were a little kid. People around you have been goading you to make decisions based upon your emotions, not based upon your higher authority. And so it's interesting because I have a solar plexus emotional authority. And it's interesting because when I read this, I was like, I don't have a lot of emotions. In fact, I didn't express. I'm not a very emotionally expressive person. I'm actually very calm and I kind of stay in the background. I'm kind of a wallflower. And then when I read about it, it made so much sense, because the reason why I learned how to stifle my emotional expression is because I found that whenever I made choices, when I was in the height of my emotions, it always went badly. Because when I'm making choices on the height of the emotions, I'm attached to the blockage. Do you remember I talked about those channels and that energy blockage creates like this pressure? That pressure is from other people. That is other people who are not living in accordance to their spirit. So most likely, if you have emotional authority, you have some level of psychic ability, you have an empathetic ability to be able to really feel other people's emotions. They literally get stuck in you and you process their emotions. So, and I had talked previously about projectors, especially emotional projectors. If you have solar plexus and a projector, you may actually express the unresolved emotions that people have around you. And you can become possessed by them, people's shadows, and it triggers them. And you feel like a pariah. You feel like no matter what you do, everybody hates you, and they don't hate you. They just are very uncomfortable with what you're showing them because it reflects what's inside of them that they don't want to see. That's all. That's all. And the thing is, it's important to know that there's a lot of shame, especially coming out of the cross of planning, that we're coming out of an old age of tribalism and groupthink into an individualism, is that as a emotional authority person, if this is you, you've probably had a lot of shame being put on you for being boring, or when you were being wise and waiting, people made fun of you for not reacting enough, or maybe you weren't considered strong or popular, or I don't really get that you like me. I mean, the list goes on. I can remember throughout my childhood how many times people insulted me because I either didn't emote enough, or when I was emoting, it was the wrong emotion they wanted. And the reason why is because they want to feed off of your emotions. They want you to give the wise spiritual emotions that are filled with warmth and love and positivity. They don't want anything else. So this is what you have to deal with as having an emotional authority, is you have to make these decisions and express your emotions and really work on being comfortable with what you feel and waiting until you feel really calm in order to either say something or do something about it.